Hi, good morning, everyone, and welcome to the second part of the sustainable urban mobility episode. Deputy Speaker Ligarda will be joining us shortly. She's been moving around also and is having a little bit of difficulty joining the call. So I will be starting this call and thanking everyone first on the panel. We have I wouldn't say a full room, we have a full screen at the moment of a lot of people who are beaming and smiling and happily able to join our discussion today. As Congresswoman Ligarda often says, greetings first. Magandang umaga sa lahat ng viewers ng kanyang episode. We've had several already. The last urban mobility episode had over 20,000 views, and people are still looking at it. There's been a great big viewership as well in the other episodes led by my other co-moderator, Attorney Ipat Luna, on urban gardening and a lot of other stuff that's been very doable. And there's more. As we do more good episodes, I think many are familiar with the term, the reward of good work is more work, because the demand for more discussions and enlightenment as to what we can do together, what is possible and what we need to change is only going to grow bigger. And so, colleagues, I'd like to, it's my pride to also welcome everyone to what might be one of the most pressing discussions, if not the most pressing discussion in the national arena today, which is all about urban mobility. The key word there is mobility. And it's not about cars, it's not about cycling, it's not about mass transport, it's about all of it together, and about development that, in the words of Deputy Speaker Ligarda, must always be about moving people, not cars. It is always going to be about providing policy means and budgetary support and government support for the majority of the population, instead of the minority households who actually already have the means to move around, and also move around in a protected way because they actually own cars, unlike 88% at least, for instance, of Metro Manila alone. The rest of the country, that figure will vary. Actually, will become probably even worse, because the ratios of people who are able to own cars is reflective of our current situation, inequality, but also in a way reflective of something that people don't often associate with transport, because this is about ultimately democracy. Who gets to enjoy the most, and who gets to profit the most, and who gets the most priority in terms of government support. So thank you for listening in. We have, as usual, an hour, but maybe we'll go over time again if from past experience, a lot of questions coming in, a lot of comments. I'd like to introduce first briefly our main panel, our speakers. We are mighty pleased, as always, that one of the strongest friends of this country is found time to join us, the ambassador to the Philippines of the Netherlands, Ambassador Saskia. Thank you very much for finding time again. Your presence is very much valued. We enjoy a lot of support in terms of insights, but also solidarity from the Embassy of the Netherlands. And your presence has always been, you've always been generous with your time. On behalf of Deputy Speaker Ligarda, thank you for joining this panel. To introduce our other members also, to those who don't know him yet, you will be in for a treat because there is a reason why he is considered a global expert on urban development, transportation, and planning. A man in demand, not just in the country, but in many other places as well. calling in from Seattle. A good friend of this, of all cycling advocates, of all advocates of urban mobility. Benji de la Peña, thank you for finding time also. Other members of the panel, a colleague of mine, Celine Tabinga, if you can give a wave. She will be providing a brief recap of a report that will be launched today, undertaken with the University of Twente and Manila Moves in terms of interconnected bikeways and why this is a demand that is actually very viable and something that needs to be integrated in the larger urban development plans long-term for the country. She will be followed by two other colleagues. We almost had her in the previous episode, but now we have her around, the branch manager of Climate Reality Project in the Philippines, Ms. Nazrin Castro. To friends, Nazca, there she is, she's waving. And to close the first round of discussions, we'll also have Len Lenny will be providing a number of insights as well on the challenges of urban planning, but also how businesses are responding and how LGUs have been responding. She will tag team as well with Naz because Len is also a climate reality leader, and we are pleased to have her around. My good friends and all the viewers, we are also most thankful that we are joined once again by our good friends in government who found time to, I guess, not just react or respond, but also to share their insights. MMDA's Undersecretary Frisco San Juan, who was able to join us in the first episode, is again with us. And we are also joined by the chair of the Build Committee of one of the most important agencies around, an agency that is going to spell out in a big way what our future will look like. So welcome po, Attorney Anime Lamentillo. Thanks for finding time. Your presence is very much appreciated. And of course, our colleagues as well from DOTR, Sandy Gaspay, she also found time today. It will be a great and robust discussion. I think when Deputy Speaker comes in, it will. I expect that it will be even more colorful and more intense. Colleagues in the media that are watching, thank you as well. I hope you can get stories out of this current discussion. This is all in. We're all in this current period. A crisis is not something that we should be wasting. And the insights, I'm pretty sure, will be worthy of making it into today's news, if not tomorrow and the rest of the month. So as we wait for Deputy Speaker Ligarda to come in, I'd like to ask our first...
I'm actually here. Can I be heard? I'm actually here.
Ma'am!
Okay, good morning.
You can be heard, ma'am.
Yes,
please,
actually... yeah, I've been hearing you. Good morning. Good morning, Ambassador. Good morning, Red. I've been hearing you from the beginning and even before 10. I could not enter because I'm not a biker.
Oh.
Okay. That's okay. Continue. No, I want to make Red take the lead. Continue. I will just butt in later. Continue, please. Okay, thank you. Good morning, everyone. Continue. You're doing a good job, Red. It's a new career for you as a host.
Oh, thank you, ma'am. Lalo po ako ninervyos, but I'll try to.
I'm watching.
I'll try to do my best. It means a lot to everyone that you can listen in and that you can ask questions anytime. This is a show that you put together that many are thankful for because the most important issues are now highlighted because you've thrown your voice behind this very important issue.
Continue. So, it's not all about me. It's about the cyclists and the bikers and the better normal when we build lanes for those who need sustainable mobility. Go ahead and Take it away, as they say, Red Constantino.
Thank you, ma'am. Thank you, ma'am. So in my excitement, I actually forgot to introduce myself. I'm Red Constantino. I'm with the Institute for Climate and Sustainable Cities. And this show is brought to you by the Climate Change Commission and the Office of Deputy Speaker, Lauren Legarda. So with that, let me throw my first questions and ask our guest to share her insights. And let me ask first our colleague, Ambassador Dilang. The Netherlands is known around the world for the attention it provides to mobility. And largely, it's very visual because cycling is for everyone. Cycling is not just for everyone, it's part of culture. In fact, many people keep joking that bicycles also share the same bed with a lot of people because it's become part of daily life by individuals, by offices, by businesses, by government. And it's not a recreational tool. It's part of everyday life. And I wonder if you can share a number of insights as to what the experience of the Netherlands has been and what you've seen so far in the country. And I know from firsthand, from directly working with great members of your team, Deputy Ambassador Peter Terpstra, for instance, always finds time to go out on the streets and check the public pulse. Ma'am, could you share your insights as to what the experience has been and what the Netherlands Embassy is looking forward to in the country?
Thank you very much for having me here today. It's a great honor to be in this such a distinguished group of people who are involved in thinking and talking and developing urban planning and talking about mobility. So what we see currently that there is a surge in interest for alternative ways of transport, and that is in the wake of the corona crisis. So one of the alternatives that is really in the spotlight that's now is cyclism. And that's not only here in Manila, but also in London. They are trying to develop overnight cycling lanes. You would see it in Paris as well, but also in North America. So it's the discussion that we are having here is part of a worldwide trend, actually. So what is Dutch cycling culture? What makes it unique? For us, cycling is one option for mobility, but it's not the only one. So it's part of our mobility. But why do we love it? And it's, as you were saying, cycling is for everyone. Cycling is a great equalizer in our country. So you would even see the Prime Minister going to work on his bike. So not because he doesn't have other options, but because he likes to be on his bike and having this feeling of freedom, being in contact with his surroundings, hearing the noises, the sounds of the city, the smells of the city, of the neighborhood where he lives. So it gives a feeling of freedom to anyone, and that's one of the reasons also why Dutch children are considered the happiest ones in the world, is because they have that freedom. As soon as they can walk, they can also be on a little bike, and they can explore their surroundings and their neighborhood, and that gives that freedom. So what I would like to say is that it has not always been like that. So there was the external shock of the oil crisis in the early 70s of the past century that had people think about other options for mobility. And then the other thing is that the civil society organizations were very strong in our country to push for safe roads and for safe cycling lanes. At a certain point in time in the 60s, our cities became very congested with cars. and there was no space anymore for the bicycles, and there was a wave of traffic incidents and accidents, people losing their kids in accidents, and there was this social movement asking authorities to come up with safe biking infrastructure. And so my country made this conscious decision to move away from cars and to prioritize cyclists, pedestrians, and public transport. And society adjusted to it. And nowadays, it's really part of our efforts towards sustainability of our livelihood. And so you were asking what can the Netherlands Embassy do here in the Philippines to share our experience. And first of all, there is this Dutch organization that is called the Dutch Cycling Embassy. And it's an umbrella organization. It brings together the knowledge institutions, it brings in the experience of the decision makers in government, the private sector, and the civil society. And this umbrella organization can bring in the hardware, meaning technical solutions, and also the software, meaning how to develop policies to partner here in the Philippines. So we don't think that we should impose external solutions, but we think that solutions should be developed in the country, in the cities, with the people on the ground, with the stakeholders who know the situation, and to find solutions with them, including public and private stakeholders. And so that's our first experience here has been in Iloilo. We helped the Dutch Cycling Embassy to organize a so-called Think Bike workshop. And it helped to bring together urban planners, cycling advocates, and businesses to work together on a cycling route map for Iloilo. And you can see it on the, it was presented here. So they designed it, they were sitting for 2 days, drawing lines, explaining the situation on dangerous intersections, and even also going out and exploring the city and have a look in the town to the most important intersections and how to deal with them. So they came with this plan and presented it to the mayor, and it has been integrated into the comprehensive land use plan of the city of Iloilo. So, so that is the kind of things that we do as an embassy. And now we are open to working together with all stakeholders, and we believe that inclusive consultation process is what will help develop the best cycling infrastructure and policies for all. And we are open for working with the private sector, and we also reach out to LGUs very soon. So this is what I wanted to share with you at this point, and I hope that it is an inspiring story. Thank you.
Yes, Madam Ambassador. Hi, this is Lauren Legarda. I'm pleased to meet you and see you this morning. I'm sorry that there was some technical glitch. I'm not very techie, but it's so inspiring using your words to see what you've done in Iloilo City. Do you know that I'm just 2 hours away? The province of Antique is in the same island of Panay in Western Visayas in Region 6. And we have a whole coastline from the south, which is in San Jose, the capital, actually in Hamtic, Aninii, and Tobias Fernier, if I may say, that's in South Antique, and all the way to a protected area in the north, which is the Northern Panay protected area, my hometown of Pandan. So if you go from the south to the north of Antique, it's 15 municipalities by the sea. And that's so beautiful. And we don't have too many buses. We don't have too many vehicles. That would be ideal to, in a way, pilot and have a bicycling program or initiative, as you've done with Iloilo City. But may also suggest, Madam Ambassador, that the Dutch Embassy and your government also share knowledge, expertise with the Metro Manila Development Authority. And in their letter to me, and they're attending our Zoom and Facebook meeting today, they said that it is not within their purview to do that, but it's actually the DPWH. You know, as senator, this was the tug of war between these two government agencies. And it's not very acceptable that one AG would say, it's not my turf, but it's the others. But let's take it at that, and we can work together with them so that the clamor of all the cycling NGOs, private groups, individuals who are with us this morning and later on in the previous episodes can actually benefit from this. So my simple question to my long preface is, Ambassador, would you be so willing as to help us institute this build, bike in Metro Manila and in rural areas, so we see the comparisons and the difference between a city like Iloilo, a very rural province like Antique, where you have the coast in your 15 LGUs, where you can have cycling, and a very congested urban center like Metro Manila, where I'm sure you live, and I know that we live nearby. So maybe you're forced to say good, but I've long admired your country. And as an aside, may I just kindly inform Madam Ambassador, Red, I'm sure you'll be interested because you had the climate reality here. Madam, the headquarters of the commission where I belong as commissioner is in the Netherlands. And that's the Global Commission on Adaptation, where no less than Mr. Bill Gates and former Secretary General Ban Ki-moon are the co-chairs, as well as Kristalina Georgieva, who is now with the World Bank, and Patrick Verkugen, who is Dutch, is our head of the Foundation of the Adaptation Commission. And I'm one of 30 commissioners from all over the world. So in that sense, I have such great affinity with your country. First, with your cycling culture, which I've seen as a teenager when I visited the Netherlands the first time and many times thereafter. And second, because the headquarters of the commission where I belong is in your country. But that's for another subject matter next time. I hope to have you. But back, I'll let you talk now. The reason why I made Red Constantino speak for the first 15 minutes is when I speak, it's never ending. So I will make Ambassador speak now on possible collaboration. We have Ana May Lamantillo, the head of the Build of DPWH, who is with us, a very proactive young lady who's Harvard graduate listening to us. I'm sure Ana May, she came from my office before in the Senate, that's why I say that. And I trained her. And we also have the MMDA, I think Mr. San Juan is also with us, who said yes to our proposal. So may I know, Madam Ambassador, how do we actually operationalize all this knowledge, expertise, and what you're doing in Iloilo City, in Metro Manila, and in other provinces like Antique as well? Thank you, Madam Ambassador. May we hear from you.
Thank you very much, and thank you for those very positive comments that you made about my country, and we feel very honored to have such a great fan of the Netherlands here around the table. And indeed, I recognize you as indeed one of the very eminent panel members of the Global Commission on Adaptation, one of the initiatives where my country has been one of the founders. Due to the coronavirus epidemic, this year's meeting cannot take place in the Netherlands as planned, but it will be organized in an online setting sometime later this year. So, well, indeed, we are. The reason why we are participating today in this show is actually also to promote the knowledge that we can share with the Philippines in the field of cycling. And so we are very open to any invitation of local government or of MMDA or any organization, governmental or civil society or private sector, to discuss the issues of biking and to bring in the experts, either physically or nowadays, like what we are doing now in this meeting, in this show, doing it virtually, mobilizing the knowledge and bringing them in, and try to replicate what we did in Iloilo, organize a think bike workshop and involve local stakeholders in designing what is required, what is needed. And so if it can then be introduced and integrated within a land use plan like in Iloilo, that's the next step, and that makes it possible then further to mobilize funds for biking lanes. By the way, I would like to say that biking lanes, you need, for some roads, you need biking lanes, but you can design your plan in such a way to use lanes and roads that are not used much by cars, and to divert your bicycles through those streets. And so biking requires some infrastructure, but not in all streets and avenues and roads where you would find cars. So it can be developed in a cost-effective way. And that is also one of the things that our experts would like to always look into, to try to make it cost-effective and to reduce the cost as much as possible. So that is, so we are very open to any invitation, and we are looking forward to that. Thank you.
May I formally invite you then, because I have here a hard copy, 2 letters. I wrote the Metro Manila Council, and they responded to me. And the MMDA, Mr. San Juan, is also with us, and they would probably later comment on what you said. That I know in your letter to me as well, which I have a hard copy here, you have a senior policy advisor, Mr. Kevin.
With here, indeed. With
yes,
us.
Who's also with us, great. And perhaps what you did in Iloilo can be operationalized in Metro Manila. It's challenging because of the buses and the trucks and the highways, but it doesn't necessarily have to be in EDSA, the polluted highway, although it would be best. Because imagine, from Monumento in Caloocan to Ayala, that's only, I believe, 15 kilometers. If the DPWH and MMDA would correct me. I lived in Malabon when I was a child, and that's near Monumento. And I know that it's only 15 kilometers. It took me 15 minutes or 20 minutes when I was young. It takes now 2 to 3 hours because of the traffic. And so, Madam Ambassador, I hear you loud and clear that you're willing, you have the expertise, the knowledge, the resources, and it's your culture that you want to share. And so you're, of course, awaiting an invitation. I'm formally inviting you. And thank you for reaching out in your email, letter to me, and immediately saying yes to joining us in this very informal Zoom session, which is live on Facebook. Now you're being seen in Antique, in Iloilo, in many parts of the world, as well as in the country. And so could you please stay on with us as we see other advocates of cycling, and you may comment at any time. This is very informal. Okay. It's not a Senate hearing or a congressional hearing, and we would love to hear from you when Ana May Lamantillo of the DPWH and Mr. San Juan would comment so that you can help us with this. But this is not the first and last time. After this, we will have Zoom meetings, not necessarily for a show, so that you can help us plan how Metro Manila can be decongested and instead use bikes. May I also, before I let you go momentarily, tell you that the late Senator Heherson Sonny Alvarez, when I was a young journalist, sent me to the Netherlands to study the polder system on the importance of conserving water. It was a man who's an expert in water, aptly called Mr. or Dr. Waterman. I hope he's still alive. And he taught me 20 or 30 years ago about the polder system. And Sonny Alvarez, who has since left us, was a senator who advocated for environment and climate change, and I was a journalist. Just to let you know, because that will be another subject matter we can have in this Stories for a Better Normal, where we talk about water, flooding, and how the Dutch are such experts in the utilization of water, considering that you have great natural challenges in water, but you don't get flooded, and you even have so much flowers and plants and vegetables when you are much smaller than the Philippines. So on that note, I go back to biking because I just wanted to take note of that in my mind, that the issue of water will be another issue that you and I, together with Red, will have in another subject matter in the Stories for a Better Normal. In the meantime, I pass it on to Red, who will introduce some of those who are with us today, big organizations and individuals. And in fact, I'm so happy to note that last May 28th, there were 2 NGOs that joined us, and they told me stories about how people walked for hours just to get to their work. It really brought me to tears. And I was happy to donate 2 bikes. And one of them was to a janitor who used to walk for hours, but now rides the bike that we donated to him. So let Red talk about it and introduce those who are joining us today. Red, you can have it now. Thank you, Madam Ambassador. Please stay on. Thank you, Red.
Thank you, ma'am. I'll ask our technical team to line up the videos later, because I think it's best that when we show them that you're around as well, they are communicating to you and expressing their appreciation. And those are human stories that I think are directly linked to the work that your office provides. If I can ask our technical colleagues to provide the first slide, that would be great. Thank you. So this is as I said earlier, is the second part of the first of the urban mobility series. It came about because of demand. In the words of Deputy Speaker Legarda, bitin na bitin yung mga tao sa diskusyon. And I don't think masasatisfy kayo kasi maraming issues lagi na tinatalakay ang office ni Congressman Legarda na the demand for information is just getting bigger, and we're trying to supply what we can. And in between that first episode and today, many things have already happened. The next slide, please. You'll see that our colleague again is here, Yusek San Juan, made commitments. I think delivered a response already to the letter that Deputy Speaker Legarda had sent them many weeks ago. And we'll also be checking in today as to what the progress has been. We're glad that there's been a response, but I think there's always room for improvement. But we're thankful that MMDA again found time for today's episode. Next slide will simply show everyone that more agencies are actually piling on to the call of Congress, especially the office of Congresswoman Legarda, that it's time to move people, not cars. And that our challenge is not managing traffic. Our challenge is how to manage transport so that the majority actually benefits instead of those who already own cars. This slide shows not only the wisdom of DOTR, but also the kind of thinking that they're putting in. Of course, there's a big debate among agencies because what they're proposing is not necessarily in the same framing as other agencies. And I guess some of our speakers will talk about that as well comparatively, and they'll be have greater expertise on this issue. The next slide will show briefly some of the exchanges that are taking place across agencies. I think we're witnessing a mobility revolution right now, where finally the majority of commuters are getting heard. This last slide is just to show you that the cycling challenge, the mobility challenge, is being responded to across the country. Maupay nga aga sa ating mga kasama nating mga waray. These are just 3 colleagues of ICSC that cycle daily to work. On one end is Ruel, who cycles 70 kilometers weekly to go home to his family. He's a big part of the security and maintenance of our hybrid geothermal solar facility in Tacloban. Glinley is on the other side. He bikes over 62 kilometers one way from Tacloban to his hometown in Abuyog. And daily, in closer, it's a 7-kilometer ride. Kenai, our office administrator, does the same. A single mom who's managing not just our facility in Tacloban, but also 7 children and 4 grandchildren. The option for cycling and mobility is not really about cars. And when we talk about cycling and walking, those are not alternatives. Those are mainstream. And we're pleased to have with us our first speaker, who will not need slides because we will want to hear more about what he has to say. He approaches this from a larger perspective because it's, as we've always said, it's not about cycling or walking alone, much less about cars. We need to look at this in totality, and we need to see also whether our experience is really unique and what other countries have experienced, and is this really such a hard thing, or is it something that reflects more the need for changes in mindsets? Benji, we are pleased to have you around, and I'll stop talking here, and we're now all ears. You've seen a lot of the debates taking place. I'm pretty sure some of the positions that appear very old to you because you've heard it from other countries. We'd like to hear how others have surmounted this, and why. Is it really a technical problem? Is it a mindset issue? Is it a democratic issue as well? Is it all together? What is in store for us? Benji, please.
Good morning, Red. Good morning, Deputy Speaker Legarda and Ambassador De Lang. Thank you for having me. It is everything, right? So Enrique Peñalosa, the mayor of Bogota, the 3-time mayor of Bogota, used to say that transportation is not a technical issue. It's a political issue. Right? The technical solutions can be found, but the politics that we have to get at is who is more important, right? And he also likes to say that a protected bike lane on a major road is a statement. It's a moral statement that says people who can only afford a 1,000 peso or 2,000 peso bike are as important in our infrastructure as people who can afford $500,000 cars. So that's the core of it. And what we need to do is the shift, right? And let me just state this very clearly for anyone, because this is my rule. If you believe that we are facing a climate crisis, you have to be for protected bike lanes. There's no way that you, in your head, you can hold those two truths in opposite. Now, yeah, we have a climate crisis we're facing, but we can't do bike lanes now. Maybe later, maybe we'll build something and it'll take us 5 or 10 years. We need to change that completely. If you believe that the planet has an existential crisis of climate change, then cities have to build out full protected bike lanes. And no disrespect to Ambassador De Lang, I heard her use the term that I always fails, it grates on my ears and I'm sorry, Ambassador, not an no offense again, but people say alternative transport when it comes to walking and biking. My good friend Sue Zielinski, who built out bike culture in Toronto and Vancouver, used to say, calling biking and walking alternative transportation is like calling women alternative men. Biking and walking is transportation. And it's time we recognize that in the way we invest, in our policies, the way we build out. So one of my first recommendations is we need to be counting. And I really appreciate the work of the bike guardians who have been doing bike counts on Commonwealth. They did a pop-up bike lane. MMDA took out, and I really don't understand MMDA. Sorry, Yusek. But they counted how many people were passing, and their numbers were about 2,400 every 2 hours. If you took that same number of people in cars, it would stretch 30 kilometers, right? And with bikes, just standing, it would be about nearly 2 kilometers of road space only if you had to. So we need to use our road space really, really well. We need to be counting the people who are walking and on bikes, and we need to invest in that infrastructure. And yes, bike lanes on EDSA, not on the sidewalk. I don't understand why people are proposing that. And they call it elevated. That's not elevated. That's just raised. People who are proposing to put bike lanes on sidewalks have probably never walked the sidewalks of EDSA because they don't exist. Right? So we need them.
You're so correct. You're so correct. Yes. I was wondering why MMDA actually said these pop-ups are not good because they could be dangerous. So make it less dangerous. Don't make it dangerous. We need protected, dignified treatment to our cyclists. You're correct. We should not relegate them to the sidewalks. They belong to the streets. So devote 1/3 of the EDSA highway to bike lanes. I won't interrupt you. Okay, I just wanted to make that comment. But the words dignified, fair, equitable should apply to bikers, to cyclists, to pedestrians. Our land and the streets, the roads are common areas. These are the commons which must be shared with people who cannot afford to buy a ₱1 million car. And those who walk for 4 or 5 kilometers for 1 hour or more are entitled just like you and I who can afford a car. So I hear you loud and clear while you are in Seattle and I am in the Philippines. Okay, continue. So Ambassador of the Dutch government will help us. May we request you, Benjamin de la Peña, our expert, Benji, our expert based in Seattle, but may I embed you in our group and ask you pro bono to help Ana May Lementilio of DPWH and Mr. San Juan. They're my two good friends. I know they will agree with us and they have no choice but to agree. And we must have you in our congressional hearings. I hope my staff are listening, and they are. I will file a resolution based on everything that we're talking about today to mandate, to designate the appropriate government agencies to do it now, not tomorrow, not in 3 to 5 years, now, because it was due yesterday and years past. Continue, Benji.
No, I absolutely agree with you. And whichever way we can push this forward, we need to. A reminder lang that we already had a transportation crisis before the COVID crisis and the economic crisis, right? And so, the transportation crisis has come about because for the last 60 years, we've been trying to solve traffic, and it's the wrong problem to solve. Traffic is a symptom. Transportation is what we need to solve, and that's rooted in, as Red said, we need to count people and we need to put people first. It riles me to no end that if you go down EDSA, you see fences on the 2 meter, 1 meter sidewalk. Tapos may sign, it says, bawal ang tao dito, which basically has no people, which shows the values that we embedded into our infrastructure. Again, I go back that people in cars are more important. They are so sacred that even when there is a stairway or a post coming from the MRT, hindi natin pinapalaki yung sidewalk so that people can pass. We keep it narrow and people cannot fit. And now we expect people to bike on that thing. So I think the people who are proposing on sidewalk are not aware of the National Transportation Policy calling for sustainable mobility and active transportation, are not aware of bike standards, which nearly every system from ASHTO, NACTO, even Indonesia's requires 1.5 meters for one single lane, and it should be double for larger highways so that you're basically filling up one car lane. And it will be way, way more efficient use of space because we can move more through bikes and public transportation. The other thing we need to really think about is how we're paying for public transportation. We've done it on the cheap, and that's why our people suffer. I'll stop there, and Red, you may have a follow-up question or so.
Benji, could you ask to stay on, just like we requested the Dutch ambassador, because MMDA and DPWH will speak later. But we also have someone, well, Celine Tabinga, is she going to speak now? Urban Transitions Analyst with the Institute for Climate. And she actually helped put together the Better by Bicycles report with Manila Moves and the university in the Netherlands. May I also, before I proceed, it's so interesting. Do we actually have the video or the pictures of Honorio Norberto Panganiban, a 55-year-old janitor from San Juan who goes to work in Pasig, and Angelita Miniebe, an English teacher at Rizal High School in Pasig, who used to walk 45 kilometers to work. And may I just clarify, yes, they are the recipients of the 2 bikes I actually gave in last episode, May 28, to Life Cycles and to Manila Moves. Do we have their pictures? But if not, I just mentioned them. Who's the ones? Mary Ann. Okay. So, yung asawa ni Mang Honorio, ayan yung bisikleta, nakabalot pa bagong-bago. Nako, sana pala pinagsalita natin sila. Pero ayon sa kwento, nagsalita siya. O sige.
Para po kay Congresswoman Loren Legarda, nagpapasalamat po ako sa pagbibigay niyo ng donasyon sa bisikleta sa pamamagitan po ng Life Cycle. Maraming salamat po sa inyong pagbibigay ng bisikleta, pantulong po sa pang-araw-araw na pagpasok ng aking asawa sa kanyang trabaho. Hindi po, nagpapasalamat ako. God bless po and more power. Salamat.
Yung teacher, kasama ba natin yung teacher? Kung wala tayo yung teacher, we can proceed with Red. Okay, Red, you continue with our other speakers today. I'm learning so much from all.
Ako po ay lubos na nagpapasalamat kay Congressman Loren Legarda sa pagbibigay niya sa akin ng free bike. At ito po ay malaking tulong sa akin sa pagkat ako ay on call sa aking work sa Rizal High School. At ako rin po ay nagpapasalamat sa MNL Moves for facilitating this project and for making this dream one of my dreams come true. And it's really an opportunity to have a free bike kasi sa panahon po ngayon na napaka-importante ng magkaroon ka ng sariling sasakyan. At ito po ang aking gagamitin means of transportation papunta sa akin at pagbabanat ng bahay dahil napakamahal po ng pamasahe. Maraming salamat po sa inyong lahat. God bless.
Okay. I am so excited. Mary Ann at yung asawa ng janitor at ang ating teacher. Meron lang akong request sa Life Cycle and Manila Moves na sila ay nakatanggap ng donation. Ang kapalit, may kapalit yan. Magtanim sila ng gulay sa kanilang bahay. Red, bahala ka na dyan ha. At papakita nyo sa akin yung litrato nila na may bisikleta at merong mga naresikulong mga paso at bote lata plastic. Nanunood si Sonia Mendoza. Text ng text sa akin. Masipag mag-text. Ayan. Mother Earth Foundation. Partner natin ang Mother Earth Foundation at ang Institute for Climate and Sustainable Cities, at saka ang Climate Change Commission, at saka ang Climate Reality Philippines. Napakasipag ni Sonia mag-text. O Sonia, lahat ng ating nagbibisikleta ay mag-Zoom conference ka, magtuturo ka ng ecological solid waste management. Yan ang kapalit ng ating pag-donate ng bike. Dahil ako'y nagaganahan sa episode na ito, magdo-donate pa ako ng isa pang bike. So either life cycles or MNL moves. Gusto ko yung talagang nangangailangan ha, yung talagang gustong-gustong magka-bike, either janitor o teacher or frontliner. Ha? Maski sino. So isa pang bisikleta, pero ang tanong ko, sino makakasagot yung susunod? Introduce mo na. Safe ba sila mag-bike? Do we have protected bikeways? Si teacher at si janitor. Biniyayaan ko nga ng bike. Paano sila nag-bike? Baka mabundol pa sila niyan. Red, sino ang susunod natin magsalita? Pagsalitain na natin si Ana May at si San Juan.
Yes, ma'am. For sure. And I will make sure that Life Cycles and Manila Moves, si Aldrin and si Keisha, will make sure that they plant as well. Kasi dapat, as you always say, sabay-sabay, sama-sama. Dapat hindi pinipili. Kinakailangan magkasama yung pagtatanim at pagbibisikleta o paglalakad ng maayos. Our next speaker po will be Celine Tabinga. But if I can, I actually wanted to ask Benji if he can spend maybe 3 minutes.
Sure.
He had one of the most, I think, cogent positions. I think very logical, which I think Deputy Speaker will really would like to hear. The proposal, especially because she had sponsored the Better Normal Bill and will be the main spear battling for sustainability in the response to the pandemic. You had a proposal before regarding service contracts. Is service contract lahat? Buses and jeeps, do it now while we have the opportunity. It's going to be, of course, back of the envelope calculations, but it's not going to be so far off the mark. You initially projected maybe 5 or just 10% of the total stimulus package. Could you give us a recap of what the idea is and why it's compelling and why it can be part of the future, not just during quarantine?
It starts from, ang problema ng public transportation natin is that it's built on the boundary system. Right? And everything is hung on that. It's entrepreneurial. So yung kinikita ng driver is only what he can earn above the vehicle rent. And because of that, all the kinds of bad driver behavior we see is actually determined by this hyper competition. And we know this doesn't work. So this moment where we stop because of the quarantine, right? And now we're going to GCQ and we're trying to restart the economy. Public transportation is key. And if we move quickly to service contracting is simple. The government pays the operator and the driver to run their routes. What will that buy us? One, because DOTR, rightly so, is requiring lowered loads, diba? 50% lang. So instead of konting ipit lang po, waluhan yan, we say, hiwa-hiwalay po, apatan lang yan. Diba? Because so that we're not transmitting. If the government is paying the operators and the drivers to run the routes, then they don't have any risk of not having income. Diba? They don't run the temptation of overloading. So that's one part, which is protecting, preventing public transportation from becoming super transmitters, right? Super spreaders or super spreader events. And second is our workers have been out of their jobs for nearly 3 months. They need to get back. Our factories need to work, right? And we need to have all of those vehicles open and carrying as much as they can. Nakita natin yung scenes last week. People waiting for hours, right, to try to get to the office. They don't do that because they think it's fun. They don't do that because they have nothing else to do at home. They do that because they need to earn a living, right? And we see also our drivers and our operators begging on the streets kasi wala silang kita, right? So why don't we have the government, it's really leasing, right? And in fact, some of the LGUs have already done it. with tricycle operations and jeepney operations. Do that for the whole system and use this time to put in automatic fare collection, put in the right system for a just transition to better vehicles, and then transition to a real service contracting model. I wanted to make the point that we've been running transportation on the cheap. There are only, around the world, only 3 cities really where public transportation makes money. Everywhere else, the fare box is not enough to pay for transportation. It's just Tokyo and Hong Kong, because real estate pays for they build real estate that pays for the transportation. And Singapore, because Singapore builds out all of the infrastructure and buys the rolling stock and then hands over operations. If we want our cities to run better and to be competitive, we need to move to service contracting, and we need to do it now because the opportunity is now, right? It's right here. As you said, as Paul Romer, the Nobel Prize winner, said, a crisis is a terrible thing to waste.
Benji, I'll get back to this point later,
Sure.
but just a very, very quick response from you. So that plan, will it bankrupt the government, or is it affordable?
Hey, in the whole economic sense, if you remember the numbers before, right? What was the cost of traffic congestion on a daily basis in Metro Manila? 5.4 billion yung estimate ng JICA pesos, right? And that's just traffic congestion. It's not counting the hours lost by workers who have to wake up 2 hours ahead, line up for an hour to get on the MRT, and then 3 hours on the other side. So the economic cost is being borne by the system. So ang question lang is, who is going to bear it? Are we making people bear it? Or can we spread that and have government and taxpayers bear it so that we have efficient public transportation?
Was I correct in my recollection that you said the back of the envelope calculations it's probably about 5%, thereabouts?
Yeah, 7 to 5%. Yes, so mga 30. My back of the envelope is about 32 billion a month. Caveat, that's just Metro Manila. No, I think Manila Move as One coalition has better numbers in their call for 110 billion investment in transportation. But again, you quibble about the cost. It's like, ito ba yung presyo o ito ba yung cost? Diba? Is it what we're paying for or what we're losing?
Right.
And I argue what we're losing way more than we would ever pay for it.
Loud and clear, Benji. Thank you very much. And so I'll pass on to the next speaker, Celine Tabinga, who is the Urban Transitions Analyst with ICSC. We have several more speakers lined up. So Celine, over to you. Next slide, please.
Maraming salamat, Sir Red. And magandang umaga, Deputy Speaker Lauren Legarda, at sa lahat ng sumusubaybay sa atin ngayon. Next slide, please. So for today, I'll be sharing briefly about the findings of the Active Mobility Survey, which the Institute for Climate and Sustainable Cities, and in partnership with Manila Moves and the University of Twente of Netherlands conducted. So first of all, active mobility, or sometimes called as active transport, refers to a form of transport that mainly uses physical movement or human power. So basic examples of active mobility would be ang pagbibisikleta or ang paglalakad. So the reason why we initiated this study is because we want to be able to get the perceptions of road users in Metro Manila who are cycling. And so we can measure the levels of active mobility here in terms of ilan ang mga nagsicycle sa Metro Manila, where are they cycling to, what destinations, and what roads are they usually traversing. So the survey was distributed online, and it ran for 3 weeks, spanning from last November until December of last year. So we were able to gather key information from 407 respondents. Next slide, please. So ito po yung profile of respondents, and as you can see, most of the respondents are residents of Quezon City, Makati, Pasig, Manila, Mandaluyong, and such. And they also have, and most of them have an average distance, travels an average of 10.8 kilometers distance to their common destinations. And then we also found out that their daily average spending on commute amounts to 132 pesos. So out of the 407 respondents, 80% of those are bike owners. And sa mga bike owners po na iyon, 55% of those cycle for 3 or more days every week. Next slide, please. So ito po yung general findings of the study. Tinanong po namin yung opinions and views of the respondents with regards to the current infrastructure on cycling and walking sa kanilang mga respective cities. So lumalabas po in both cases of cycling and walking na there is a significant concern regarding safety. And ayon po sa mga respondents, meron po high levels of dissatisfaction when it comes to the quality of sidewalks and bike lanes. And then majority din po say that there is a significant lack of infrastructure to support both modes. Additionally, when it comes to cycling, almost half of the respondents say na kulang yung end-of-trip facilities such as shower rooms or even bike parking in common places such as school or work na very crucial especially for bike commuters. And then we also asked the top 3 motivations as to why the respondents are cycling and walking, and it shows na ang number 1 motivation for both cases would be due to health reasons. And then kasama na rin po doon ang to save time or to avoid traffic. And then most importantly, we also asked the respondents to give us to give us the changes that they want their cities to improve on. And lumalabas na for both modes, connected bike lanes as well as connected sidewalks and footpaths ang number 1 intervention na gustong mangyari ng mga respondents. Following that, they also want better and more infrastructures. For example, for cycling, segregated bike lanes and protected bike lanes come in second, and then followed by better facilities at work and school. So for walking naman, wider sidewalks come in second, followed by better enforcement for illegal parking. So next slide po. So we also asked kung saan yung most traversed routes nila, and here you can see the top 10 routes. As depicted, yung yellow-green lines, ito po yung top 10 most used bike routes according to the respondents. Nung minap out po namin, lumalabas po na yung mga most used routes ay major roads. Kasama na po dito yung EDSA being the highest and most traversed roads, C5 extension and Katipunan Avenue and such. So following this pattern po, and given na interconnected bike lanes ang gustong intervention, ang top intervention as indicated in the survey, we came up with the Metro Manila Bike Lane Network proposal, which proposes to establish bike infrastructure along major roads. So these would include radial and circumferential roads along Metro Manila. Para po it's much more easier to move. And para po mas madaling makatravel in and out of cities yung mga cyclists, since yan po yung behavior na nakita namin in the survey. So, next slide po. So, active mobility, which is walking and cycling, can and should be made easier and safer in Metro Manila, especially because most of its residents are commuters. Some are cyclists, and I'm sure marami pa po ang may enganyong mag-cycle given the current unfortunate circumstances. And above all, at some point, all of the residents in Metro Manila are pedestrians. So sila po dapat yung binibigyan ng priority as opposed to the 12% of households na car owners. So based po sa active mobility study namin, ito po yung primary recommendations in order for us to improve active mobility in Metro Manila. So the first would be to enable cycling and pedestrian infrastructures. Ibig sabihin po nito, we need to provide dedicated spaces for all road users. So it is also very important that we make it convenient and efficient. That's why we need to create an interconnected bike lane network, and as well as connected sidewalks and footpaths across the metro. And then we also need to close the loop by providing end-of-trip facilities such as bike racks for parking, and other bicycle-friendly facilities like shower rooms na, again, crucial for bike commuters. And it's also very crucial so we can encourage others to do bike commuting. And then we also need to make these infrastructures attractive and comfortable by street planting and providing shade, providing trees para magkaroon ng shade, and as well as visual relief na rin for all road users. And to cater to the concerns of safety, we need to also improve street lighting. So second po, we need to change mindsets, priorities, and policies to move people and not cars. So in order for us to nurture and successfully create a cycling culture, it is important po na we set up supportive local ordinances and programs that supports bicycle-friendly cities and walkable cities. Examples po nito ay ang pagkakaroon ng ordinances na nagpro-promote ng bike to work scheme, mga bike loans, and like programs po na katulad sa Pasig, meron po silang Carless Sundays in Ortigas Avenue. So finally po, we need to generate more data to support planning and policies. Like, we need to have more bike counts. We need to count yung mga pedestrians din po and cyclists. And it's also the reason po kung bakit namin ginawa itong survey, because meron pong lack of baseline data of cyclists and pedestrians in Metro Manila. So, lahat po ng elements na ito hopefully would build or create a successful transport plan in the future na pwede natin ma-apply in Metro Manila and hopefully in nationwide po. That would end my presentation. Maraming salamat.
Thank you very much. That's pretty well done. That's done by you, Cecile.
Celine po.
Celine, yes, it's done by you and your group. Very good.
Yes po.
With the Institute. I immediately want to hear feedback from the MMDA and DPWH. Before we go to the young climate reality leaders, are you on now? Ana May Lamentillo is with the DPWH. Can you introduce yourself, Ana May, and tell the audience watching us from Antique, from the world, what exactly do you do there, and bakit hindi nyo magawa ito? Diretso na ang salitang tanong ko. MMDA, Mr. San Juan, and Ana May, DPWH, did you listen to the Dutch ambassador, to Red Constantino, and to Celine, and to Benji? Can we have you, Ana May?
Yeah. Good morning, ma'am. It's nice seeing you po. I mean, as early as 2012, Senator Lauren has already been talking about solutions related to climate change. Talagang pagising po sa umaga hanggang pagtulog sa gabi, literally it's about climate change. So I think napakaswerte po ninyo na one of your supporters is Senator Lauren, because she's really known for making things possible. So kami po sa DPWH, Ms. Cherie, baka po we can present my presentation. We've been doing bicycle lanes, protected bicycle lanes since 2016. In fact, this is the first time na nagkaroon po ng protected bicycle lanes in the Philippines. Ito po yung Laguna Lake Expressway. We started it early 2017 and we were able to fully inaugurate it. This was based on an Asian Development Bank study na kinumpare nga po yung mga Asian cities, and we've determined that Manila, like Hanoi, yung sizable number of trips nila could actually be made by foot and by bicycle, because yung average distance traveled per trip is actually low. Next. According din po doon sa Metro Manila Urban Transport Integration Study, nearly 35% of the destinations are within a 15-minute walk or bicycle trip. Kaya po majority po ng mga short trips natin are para-transit, meaning po jeepneys, tricycles, and cars. But in fact, kung meron po tayong provision for pedestrian infrastructure, more people will be using not just bicycle lanes, but also pedestrian infrastructure next. That's why as early nung pagpasok po namin in 2016, we incorporated already dimensions and technical specifications for bicycle lanes. So meron na po tayong standard dimensions and measurements. In fact, this is the BGC or Tigas Link Bridge project. It's part of the EDSA decongestion program. It's also part of the Metro Manila Logistics Network project, and it will have segregated and protected bicycle lanes doon po sa kanilang main bridge. So that's already ongoing. It's more than 50%, and we expect it to be completed by 2021. Next. Ito nga po yung sinabi ko po sa inyo na Laguna Lake Highway. This is the first national toll-free expressway with segregated bicycle lanes. We've been able to inaugurate it noong 2018, and it's about 7 kilometers. So yung mula po doon sa Rizal hanggang Bikutan, it has protected and segregated bicycle lanes. This is the first time Metro Manila has it, and we've been using this template and this infrastructure plan, hindi lang po sa Metro Manila, also in Visayas and Mindanao. In fact, ongoing po yung construction natin sa Cagayan de Oro Coastal Road. We have one yung Davao Coastal Road. And as you can see, meron din po tayo, we did the renovation, the renovation of the Boracay Circumferential Road, and we made sure that there are pedestrian and bicycle lanes para po sa ating mga residents and tourists in the area. So kung makita nyo po, this is how Boracay Circumferential Road looks like ngayon po. At pati po yung sa Laguna Lake Highway, ito na po yung itsura niya ngayon. Next. Yun po yung end of the presentation. So these are just few of the infrastructure projects that we've done. So dun po sa ating medium-term and long-term plans, kasama na po siya. As of now, the reason why DPWH could not undertake yung pop-up bicycle lanes because we do not have discretionary funds specific for this. But if for the Bayanihan Law, kami po yung madidesignate as the proper agency to implement the bicycle lane, then it shouldn't be a problem. Sabi po ni Secretary Villar, as early from dun po ng 2016, he's been very supportive about bicycle lanes, and kung ito po yung magiging plano po in the next, for this year, then we are very, very supportive po. We just need...
Anna May, yes. Can I just clarify, and Mr. Salman, para maayusan natin, ang sagot sa akin ng MMDA, hindi raw sila. For Metro Manila, kayo daw. Sabi naman ninyo, hindi kayo. So, can we have the three of us decide who is in charge for Metro Manila? First of all, I congratulate the DPWH, you, for what you showed us. But these are small. Boracay Circumferential Road. We have the Laguna de Bay. These are these are protected bikeways, pero hindi naman ito yung pang-transport for a lot of people. So, maganda may sample ng Boracay, maganda may sample Laguna de Bay, pero paano naman yung nagtatrabahong janitor, teacher, at lahat ng frontliners? So, ang tanong ko sa Metro Manila, ang sagot sa akin sa sulat ng MMDA ay hindi raw sila. DPWH daw. But you're saying now, hindi kayo, but you're willing to help out. So, sino ba talaga ang dapat gumawa ng bike lane sa Metro Manila?
Ma'am, as a solution, yes, meron po kaming ginawa. It's already an interagency group. Ang head po is Department of Transportation. But DPWH, MMDA, Department of Health are also member, and DILG.
Yeah.
Ang ginagawa po nun, ma'am, the priority now, I think, are hospital pop-up bicycle lanes. This will be the routes that will be used by our frontliners going to and from hospital lanes. So
is that already operational? Pop-up, protected pop-up bicycle lanes from hospital to hospital, or from residences that's all over Metro Manila to hospitals? Is that available now?
We're crafting, ma'am, the bicycle routes. There is a joint administrative order already that is being reviewed. So as soon as all the agencies are able to review with Department of Health, of course, and DILG, because we're working with LGUs, because this DPWH has jurisdiction over the construction of national roads. The traffic management is MMDA. So I think it's really an interagency task force that will be able to solve all the bottlenecks po, because we also need permission from the LGUs.
Since it's the, okay, very good. We really have to pinpoint, even if it's interagency, may lead yan. So MMDA is traffic management, but to build the protected bike lanes, it should be the public works, correct? Or is it DOTR? Kailangan i-identify na natin dito, ayokong ipagpaliban kasi turuan na naman eh. Interagency, that's fine. Dapat may coordination. Pero sino ba? MMDA ang magpaplano, magtatayo, magko-construct, or is it Department of Public Works or Department of Transport?
Right now, ma'am, ang designated lead is Department of Transportation, at least for the EDSA bicycle decongestion program.
Do we have the OTR with us now on this Zoom? No one from the OTR. So we have to have a part 3.
So, sorry.
We have one po.
Palang po of the OTR.
Yes, very good. I will just finish Anna May. Okay, Anna May, you stay on. And Mr. San Juan, kayo po, my letter to the MMDA, I will write Secretary Villar of DPWH and copy furnish Anna May, chair of the Build. I will write Secretary Tugade so that we will see sino ba talaga. Okay, MMDA told me they're not in charge. DPWH says it is DOTR. May we have po a representative of DOTR? I'm sorry, ma'am, I can't. Okay, introduce yourself and kindly tell us and comment on all the bike lane plans of DPWH and MMDA for Metro Manila. Thank you, ma'am. Proceed.
All right. Good morning, everybody. My name is Sheila Napalang. I'm currently an Assistant Secretary for Planning and Project Development at the Department of Transportation. Let me just answer a few points, Honorable Lauren Legarda. Just because earlier on, Benji de la Peña was saying about service contracting. Let me then just answer that. The Public Utility Vehicle Modernization Program of the Department of the Philippines is actually mindful of the current limitations of the boundary system. And you know that, Benji. So that's why the PUVMP was launched back in 2016, precisely because we would like to shift to another business model, which would be that we will pay the transport services will now be paid by vehicle kilometers or passenger kilometers, not by passengers. So that's one. And that also includes route rationalization. This was actually undertaken by the department long before, even before the pandemic was happened po. So in short, recognize po yan. Of course, we all know that it's very difficult because part of it is the consolidation of your operations, particularly of your jeepney route. So just to say that, Benji, it's not, hindi lingid sa kaalaman ng departamento ang limitation ng boundary system, and it's been proven that it does encourage risky behaviors from the drivers because they want to pick up passengers along the way. So
I'm very happy to hear that po.
Yeah,
in fact, in my meetings 2 weeks ago with DOTR was the same.
Yeah,
that's what they were saying.
That's actually been in place for since 2016. But of course we have a lot of challenges. So that's one on the issue of PUVMP. Now on the policy of bike lanes, the National Transport Policy was actually published, and part of it really is the encouragement of active transport, which is walking and cycling, for many reasons, including reduction of emissions from the transport sector, because the transport sector has been known to emit as much as 90% pollutants. So mindful of that, the department has actually established, in fact, hindi nga lang sa National Transport Policy, back in 2012, meron na po kaming environmentally sustainable transport strategy. Kasama po dito ang pag-i-encourage ng mga bike lanes.
I'm sorry to interrupt. But you proceed, okay? You're doing fine. Director Anime talked about 2012. You're saying 2012. It's 2020. We talk about studies. We talk about the need. It's 2020. I ask, as a lawmaker, as a leader of our country, as someone who chaired finance and budgeted it for 5 years, why do we talk about studies and plans and our bikers, commuters, motorists still don't have the bike lanes they deserve? We have to be answerable to our people. So bakit po? Diretso po, ang gaganda ng ating mga pulisiya, ang gaganda ng mga batas namin, pinupondohan ng ilang trilyon na budget. Why don't we still have the bike lanes protected that they should be, despite the fact that there have been studies, as you said, as DPWH said, diretso na po, sagutin nila, ang dami kong Facebook messages dito. Bakit po puro pag-aaral at hindi po ginagawa? Diretsuhin na po natin.
Gustuhin ko po mang sagutin yan, ma'am, ng diretso. Alam din po natin na kahit may polisiya, importante din po yung coordination. So, kunwari lang po, kanina po yung taga-DPWH, in-acknowledge niya po that to have a continuous bike lanes, you'd have to have coordination with the LGUs. Recently, the LGU, I think, came up with its with a circular for how to come up with bike lanes. I think this was recent lang po yun, no? So ma'am, hindi ko po masasagot kung bakit hindi pa dahil lang po.
O sige, si Secretary Tugade na lang at si Secretary Villar ang tatanungin ko. Gusto ko lang i-put on record yan. Teka po, Asek Sheila,
yes,
I'm glad you're in touch with...
Ma'am, sorry. Can I just say one more thing? Because I'm really mindful of these bike lanes. You know, we always talk about having bike lanes, you know, but I always would like to remind everybody that in transport planning, there is what we call hierarchy of roads, no, a bifunctional classification, meaning that we have arterial roads, which is supposed to service speed because of economic activities.
Outdated model na po yun.
Yes. No, sir. No. I don't think that's an outdated.
I'm sorry. We do not use it now. NACTO doesn't follow that hierarchy of roads. That is a car-based prioritization.
We should not have a car-based prioritization. It is the new norm and the better normal, and we should give back the commons to our people. And if the majority of our people cannot afford cars, we give them protected bike lanes.
Siguro
that is in our better normal bill,
yes,
not yet a law. But we're not fighting you. We're just passionate about it.
I know. Sorry. I just need to remind everybody that importante din po ang safety ng ating bikers.
Tama po kayo.
Yes, that's why we need protected bike lanes.
Sorry, Bench. Let me just finish. Bench. Okay. Then it's important for us, therefore, to be mindful that our roads do not just, you know, it's for mobility as well as for economic activities. So therefore, we must be mindful about the planning of the bike lanes, right? So yun lang.
Okay, very good.
You know, that's all. That's really what I want to remind everybody. You know, the department, in fact, in its new in the protocols, all of our protocols encourages active transport. In fact, we encourage that because it will reduce the transmission of disease. Okay, of COVID, of the COVID virus. But in planning this, it must be always included in our awareness that road safety is also an important consideration.
Okay, having said that, Asek Sheila, very good. Protected, safe bike lanes. Sabi po ni Director Anime, hindi po sila ang in charge, hindi po DPWH. Sabi po niya, kayo DOTR ang head. Can you kindly give us the name and the position of the focal person in charge of the bike lanes in Metro Manila, so we will have a part 3 of this episode? Kayo ba ho ang head ng bike lane interagency committee ng Metro Manila? Because MMDA told me hindi silang in charge. Sabi ng MMDA, DPWH, Ana May is the head, the director of Build. Hindi raw sila ang head, DOTR daw. May we know who in DOTR is in charge on top of the interagency committee for the bike lanes, protected, safe, sustainable mobility for Metro Manila? Ganun kasimple lang po. Sino po yung taong yun?
Una po, I will have to look into it because I don't know about who's heading it right now. Okay?
Also, if there's no one heading it, there's no one planning it, there's no one doing it.
I'm sorry. I'm not saying there's no one heading it.
Okay, you just don't know. Okay.
Information right now, madam. So I will get back to you on the information. The department also, according to the director from DPWH, is in charge of policy. So that's why the National Transport Policy was crafted and pushed forward by the department, which includes active transport. No? But I will get back to you on the head. Right now, po, the one in charge of the EDSA carousel is the Road Transport and Infrastructure Division. But as to the involvement in the interagency, I will get back to you. I will tell Sherry who is the head of that. Okay?
11:26 a.m. and I'm so grateful to all of you. We will have to go. We're already 30 minutes over time, but we're not paying for airtime. And it's important that we talk about this. We continue for the next 10 minutes, and Red, you help me out here. We will have to have a part 3. And in part 3, kailangan ipakita na ni Director Ana May yung Boracay Circumferential Road, hindi lang art cards, how it is. Ipakita nyo ang Laguna de Bay Circumferential Road dahil ayon sa mga Facebook messages, DPWH, ginagawa daw parking lot yung bike lane ng Laguna de Bay. Totoo ba yan o hindi? Show me the pictures. Ginagamit daw ng mga vendors. At ang mga vendors na ito, am I here? Nawala ako. Am I here?
Yes, ma'am.
Okay, I got lost. Okay, fine. At ginagamit daw ng parking lot at ng vendors. So if this is true, Director Ana May, can you look into that? That means that it's not being used as a bike lane. And second, we appreciate ASIC Sheila's policies, but we need operations. And so she will lead us to the point person of DOTR in charge of the interagency bike lane planning operations for Metro Manila. So maybe Director Ana May can answer first. Hindi policy daw ang DOTR. Hindi raw sila ang in charge ng pagtatag ng bike lane. Director Ana May, can you answer please? So that I'm confused kung Senate hearing to or Congress hearing, litong-lito na po ako. O Director San Juan, sabi nyo hindi kayo. Sabi DPWH, sabi ng DPWH, hindi sila, DOTR. Ana May, are you still with us?
Yes, ma'am. We've received a proposal coming from the office of USEC Mark De Leon of Department of Transportation. Secretary Ilyar already formed a technical working group to evaluate the proposal.
Okay.
There is another meeting with Department of Health. This crafted the joint administrative order specific to the hospital routes. But again, ma'am, yung identified routes po, it's not just national roads. It also involves city roads. So we also need to coordinate with the LGUs of each of the Metro Manila cities.
Okay. So for the next one, Red, we will have exactly what Ana May said, the focal person of the OTR. And we have to ascertain sino ba sa kanilang tatlo ang talagang in charge, which agency. Sino yung may decisive factor pero kasama yung interagency. So Director Ana May was still with us because you're chair of Build. We will also have ASIC Sheila, but she said they're in charge of policy. Tabi na muna natin ang policy because kailangan natin makausap yung mag-implement ng policy. So we'll have that person in charge, USEC, that you mentioned, De Leon. Is it De Leon?
Yes.
Of the OTR. And we'll make sure that they show us video not just art cards or drawings. And then we'll have the MMDA and the League of Mayors head of Metro Manila. And perhaps, let's have all Metro Manila mayors magka-diretsuhan na sino ang may gusto ng bike lane, sinong ayaw. Ano ang mga hamon, bakit hindi kaya. We'll invite all the Metro Manila mayors. We will have DOTR operations in charge of bike lane, and we will have DPWH share, build, anime, at kung sino pang gusto mong tropa mong dalhin para talagang, at saka i-check mo ha, itong Facebook messages ha, ginagawa raw parking lot at vendors parking din ang bike lanes ng Laguna de Bay. Totoo kaya yun?
We will coordinate, ma'am, and then we will update you as soon as possible.
Alam mo, simple lang. Ask your person to check now. Take a picture. Put it on my Facebook now. Kung puro tarpaulin at vendors yan at mga parking lot, they're violating what you built as a bike lane. Di ba?
Yeah, yes, ma'am. Yes, ma'am.
Yes. Okay. Red, can you take over? Yes. We have
share ko lang very quickly while you're around, because I've received 4 text messages all saying the same thing about you. They all use the same word to describe you. Ang tenacious naman ni Kong, ang tenacious ni Sen. Sabi ko, ganyan talaga, ibang klase.
Hindi kasi... Okay, I mean...
that's what we want from our leaders. Exactly. So bravo po. Maraming salamat.
Trabaho ko ito. 1998, but okay, thank you. But it's not all about me. It's about anime. It's about Yusek Sheila. It's about Yusek Frisco. It's about Celine. It's about all of you who know it best. I'm an advocate and a policy maker. We need people who will do it. DO.
Yes.
Now. 2012 may study. Kaya hanggang puti na ang buhok ni Red, study pa rin tayo. Okay, go. Go. So, sino
Ma'am,
pa?
Isa pa, for anime, I also received 3 text messages. Bravo, good job. Tapos, yung isa from media, just to confirm if they really heard it right, BGC Ortigas Bridge, my bike lane. That's what I heard. Best to say, tama ba?
Tama po yun. The BGC Ortigas Link Bridge, meron po siyang bicycle lane. Yung Laguna Lake Expressway po, that's 7 kilometers from Bicutan hanggang Taytay Rizal po.
Mag-extend tayo hanggang 12 noon, okay? We have 25 minutes. Anime, could you kindly ask, the way I talk to her this way, pasensya na ha, Director Anime, she was with me in my office, sanay na siya sa akin sa pagka-tenacious ko sa words ni Red. O sige, lettertuhan nga natin ang bike lane around Laguna Circumferential Road. Pag makita akong isang nakaparada dyan, lagot yan. I-Facebook, ipakita mo sa akin ngayon, you have 25 minutes. Ask your DPWH, the district engineer there to show us if it's, I want to see bikers. Kung yan ay may mga vendors dyan at meron dyan naka-parking lot, ay maling-mali ang ginagawa. Isa pa to, sa Marcos Highway na ginawa ng MMDA, sasagot si Undersecretary Frisco San Juan, ay meron daw mga poste at mga kotse sa overpass na nag-block ng route. So the bike lane cost a lot of money but yielded no results. Again, I will not believe someone who just posts something on Facebook without proof. But let's see. That is Bert Peters from Facebook saying that they wanted to check that. And the role of LGUs, yes, I will just read the Facebook messages later. We will let the experts speak. And so while we are waiting for the pictures and video from Director Anime from our DE in Rizal for the Laguna Lake Circumferential Road, we will hear from the others who have prepared their art cards. Next time, we don't like art cards from government agencies. We want actual pictures. You know why? When I funded some agricultural, the fish landing centers, I did an inspection on January 1, New Year's Day. Hindi alam nung mayor na pupuntahan ko. Ginawang parking lot imbis na ibigay sa mga mangingisda ginawang parking lot, tapos yung freezer ay nasa munisipyo at ginagamit at hindi para sa mga mangingisda. Why am I saying this? Baka din yung bike lane na tinayo ng government agency para sa galing sa taxpayers' money para sa taong bayan ay ginagamit sa ibang pamamaraan na illegal. So we're waiting, Aname. In the meantime, Red, take over for the others who have prepared. Yes, we have Nazrin of Climate Reality. We have Lenny of Climate Reality as well. And we have, I want to hear first from Yusek Frisco San Juan. Kaibigan ko tong matalik, naintindihan niya ako. His father knows me very well. I'm really mapusok, especially on issues like this. Yusek Frisco. Hi. Manong. Okay, wala muna. Sorry kasi overtime na tayo. Baka nagtrabaho na siya. Nakakahiya. Yusek Frisco, are you there with us? Kung hindi, we will have the Climate Reality. Our two young leaders, Red, you take over from Climate Reality.
Yes, ma'am. Ma'am, perfect segue po yan. Kasi the previous exchange was revealed that our colleagues in government should be using more updated frameworks, no, not an old hierarchy. Because as you said, we are not only in a new context, we are also going for a better normal, and we want updated things. And our next speakers are actually going to be telling us a bit about why LGUs and businesses are not waiting for those guidelines. They will be handy, pero sila tuloy-tuloy na implementation. So Nazrin Castro, the branch manager for Climate Reality in the Philippines, and to save time, after you, paki-introduce na rin sila para dire-diretso na tayo.
Okay,
okay.
Over to you.
Yes, salamat Red. Salamat Deputy Speaker Lauren Legarda for giving us the opportunity to have a platform for our Climate Reality leaders. Just for the information of our viewers, both Red Constantino and Deputy Speaker Lauren Legarda and a handful from the Climate Change Commission like Secretary Emmanuel de Guzman and Commissioner Rachel Herrera are all Climate Reality leaders. So Climate Reality leaders are essentially a community. They come from different walks of life, from different professions, from different fields of expertise. As we could recall, during the first episode of Sustainable Urban Mobility, we had Romel Coro, who shared the financial, environmental, and even spiritual benefits of bike commuting. So today, I'll be introducing another Climate Reality leader who is an urban planner from UP Diliman, who is assisting our local government units in Metro Manila to really draw up plans on how to put up pop-up bike lanes. So before I introduce her, I would just like to share how can the Climate Reality Project Philippines support this movement of pedaling past the pandemic. It's through our Climate Reality leaders. It's activating their network to really push for this kind of initiative to our local and national officials that this is a solution that could address multiple problems. We bridge leaders and also elevate their actions for other advocates and policymakers like Deputy Speaker Lauren Legarda and Senator Francis Tolentino, and to other movers to support their advocacy and perhaps institutionalize their efforts. So we have seen biking or bicycles in a new light during the pandemic. So it has become the primary mode of transportation for our health workers, for our service and delivery personnel and other frontliners. So what we really need from MMDA, from DPWH and DOTR are the actual work that they're doing with government officials, with our local government units, to somehow provide the same support or maybe a greater level of support that other biking organizations are already providing. So just to give a shout out to the local government units in Metro Manila that are testing and already implementing pop-up bike lanes, we have Pasig City, we have Mandaluyong City. Next slide. We also have San Juan. There's also a map from the San Juan LGU. And next slide. We also want to give a shout out to the private sector for their initiative in encouraging biking. So we have dedicated parking slots for bikes. We have here Robinson's Magnolia, Capitol Commons. Next slide. We have there the Podium, SM Marikina. This will also allay the fears of our citizens that their bikes might be stolen in public places. So aside from pop-up bike lanes and dedicated parking spots for the bikes of our citizens, we have also consulted several climate reality leaders on what are practical and effective measures that we could readily and easily implement. So some of these are already mentioned by Celine. So just to summarize, 4 points. First is we could extend bike loans to our employees. And I challenge the Climate Change Commission to start this with your employees. Second is we could also install showers, lockers, and dressing rooms in offices and public spaces. Third is maybe provide a coaching and mentoring program to accompany our newbies from their house to their workplace. This is being done in Brussels and Paris. So like me, a newbie biker, takot akong habulin ng aso. So maybe if we go in packs, so that will be safer. And lastly, incentivize workers to bike going to work. So maybe a food voucher for our employees. So that could be supported by employers. So with that, as a summary, our potential for sustainable urban mobility initiatives to really address air pollution and curb greenhouse gas emission is really massive. So we need to grab this small window of opportunity to really plan, strategize, and sabi nga ni Deputy Speaker Lauren Legarda, actually implement itong mga polisiya na to to transition our local government units to a better normal and perhaps a better reality for the Filipino people. Before I introduce our next speaker, I would just like to give a shout out and call all Pinoy climate advocates. If you want to be a climate reality leader, the Climate Reality Project is hosting the first ever virtual global training on July 18 to 26. So if you're interested, please check out the Climate Reality Project Philippines Facebook page. So it's on your screen. It will also be posted later. So with no further ado, it is my honor to present to you our next speaker, a resource person. She's from UP Diliman, a chemical engineer by profession. She's a climate reality leader trained in 2016 in Metro Manila, in Manila rather. She's a member of UP Planners Organization, Alt Mobility PH, and EDSA Evolution. So she's none other than Len Jamandores.
Hi, Na. So thank you so much. So, so I'm actually not practicing chemical engineer now. I work in the office. So, but yung mga teams natin dito na kasama, I want to shout out to all of them. Alt Mobility, EDSA Evolution, and UP Plano. Actually, they are all separate organizations that came together para dito sa makabuo ng proposal for our different LGUs and also the NGAs on how to implement na magawa na natin itong mga bike lanes na ito. So, hindi rin ako hindi rin ako laging urban planner, pero I'm very honored to be here in a forum na meron tayong mga experts tulad ni na Sir Benji de la Peña at na Ma'am Sheila na nasa DOTR. So I'd also like to take this opportunity to share kung ano yung mga nagawa ng mga different groups. This is not just one team na gumagawa ng mga ganitong initiatives. So there are several teams working together. Gustong mai-push na tong mga bike lanes natin. So yung next slide, please. Mga proposals for road sharing and active transport. So sinabi ng mga panels natin kanina na ang tagal na siyang pinag-uusapan. Matagal na tayong nagko-call for road sharing, for active transport, na yung simpleng commuter, magkaroon ako ng option na magkaroon ng safe na dadaanan. Tas ngayon, dahil meron tayong crisis, COVID-19, GCQ na tayo, lalong umigting at lalong lumakas yung pangangailangan natin for bike lanes. Tas alam na natin kailangan natin siya kahit na ilang test pa or yung mga studies dati, actually pre-COVID yun. Yung mga data nun, baka kailangan na rin i-update. So this time, we want to try na natin, gawin na natin tong bike lanes. So magagawa naman natin siya, hindi pa nga kailangan ng sobrang laking infrastructure requirement agad. So kung ang kailangan, 2 steps yung main na kailangan. Delegate kung aling roads yung pwede nating designate as bike lanes. Hindi naman kailangang permanent agad, pero kailangan ng LGU conviction na ito ay bike lanes at ito ay para sa mga commuters natin, vulnerable commuters natin. Pangalawa, kung kailangan man ng infrastructure, ng bollards, ng cones, yun, mas madali mas kaya pa yung solusyonan. Kasi nakita naman natin, businesses are supporting these initiatives kasi para sa ating lahat siya. Maliban pa sa pagko-convert lang ng roads, dapat ang i-target rin natin is ma-connect yung mga critical infrastructure. So it's not about gaano kahaba yung bike lane ko. It's about how many infrastructures or buildings yung nakakonect doon sa bike lane na yun. Kasi yun naman yung magagamit talaga ng mga tao. Next slide, please. So yung ganong type of discussion, yung nabuo nung pinopropose yung hospital bike lane. So I was very lucky to be a part of the discussion there na maraming groups yung nagpo-push nito, maliban pa sa hospitals, maliban pa sa biking groups. Kailangan kasi siya talaga. We need to protect the frontliners who are helping protect us in this crisis. Ilang doctors na yung nasagasaan or nagkaroon ng accidents dahil dito. Next slide, please. So maraming kailangang drawings, iterations, at planning assessment na kailangan gawin. So ito ay parang sobrang rough drawings. Itong mga ganitong types of discussions ay naganap habang ECQ, habang hindi makalabas yung mga tao to do the usual studies and accounts. Pero we use technology para magamit kung ano yung mga available sa atin na information. Andyan yung, buti nga ngayon, mas madali tayo makapag-meetings dahil may Zoom, hindi na kailangan mag-meet up sa kung saan. So we can really push this through. Ito isang sample ng mga drawings na gawa ng volunteers from UP Plano, students of UP School and Urban and Regional Planning. So baka yung iba doon ay kakilala ninyo. So next slide please. So ito yung mula doon sa mock-up ng PowerPoint, ito mas napa-enlarge na siya. So kahit mahalaga tong mga ganitong drawings para ma-visualize ng LGUs, ano nga ba siyang magiging itsura niya? Hindi kailangang magtayo ng we don't need to build new roads, we just need to delegate them. Next, please. So the advantages would be to address the immediate need. So ngayon, kailangan na natin ng safer roads for our bikers, our commuters, and our pedestrians. This is scalable and adaptable. So yung inaano dito, hindi kailangan na lahat agad ng roads hindi kailangan na engrande agad lahat. So, alam ko mahilig tayo magplano ng high level, but we need also to bring ourselves back on the ground. Na yung mga ganitong plans, halimbawa magsisimula for a smaller loop that includes the hospitals. Actually, if you link those hospitals together, you also link the schools together, and then the important buildings together. So, yun yung kailangan natin gawin. So, pwede natin siyang gawin by phase. So, ang kailangan lang rin ay magkasundo yung mga institutions natin ng kung ano yung pwede na natin gawin. So, tulad ng mga na-discuss kanina, patuloy na problema yung road jurisdiction overlaps. Kung inadequate man yung manpower, actually, marami ring mga volunteer groups na willing mag-contribute to do this. And then, even yung mga traffic cones or bollard barriers, we can also work through that para makahanap ng mga solutions for that. Lalo na sa mga LGUs na gusto tong gawin, pero feeling nila kulang yung mga resources. ayan, marami pong gustong tumulong sa inyo. So thank you for Climate Reality na nagkaroon tayo ng opportunity na ma-share yung ganitong types of activities. So sana magtuloy-tuloy na tong discussion at ma-implement na natin tong mga bike lanes. Thank you.
Very good, Len. Congratulations to Climate Reality and the Institute of Climate and Sustainable Cities. Could you kindly give all your research, study, policies, and plans to the DPWH, to Chair Director Ana May Lementilio, and to ASEC Sheila of DOTR, and to USEC San Juan, who is with us now, trying to log in. Do we already have you, MMDA? May signal issues. Calling on DICT, my former Senator Secretary Onasan. Give free Wi-Fi to MMDA so they can log in. Okay? Okay. MMDA, hindi namin kayo tatantanan dahil magkakaibigan tayo. We will have all the mayors, 18 of Metro Manila. We will have the MMDA focal person in charge. We will, Ana May is, she's very good. She's going to get all the people in charge. At aminin na natin, kung puro policy at plano tayo, di gawin na natin. Wag natin, and those existing bike lanes, ano dyan ang model? Yan ang hihingin ko sa'yo, Director Ana May. Lahat ng modelo, however small, in whatever city in Metro Manila na modelo. Kung modelo yung inyong ginawa na Laguna de Bay, pakita nyo. Na-check na ba ng district engineer mo kung ginagawang parking lot yung Laguna de Bay? Totoo ba yung nag-Facebook?
Ma'am, there were previous instances po na naging parking lot daw po siya. But we reported it with the LGU po, who has the police power to enforce yung pagpapaalis po sa kanila. Pero ongoing naman po yan. So pagka may naka-parking po doon, rene-report po sila, and then we hope na hindi po sila kagad. Pero we're closely monitoring po yung situation po doon.
Ambassador is still with us. Ambassador, you really have to help our country, you know. You have to help our country, and these are passionate, dedicated government workers. We'd like to thank DOTR, ASEC Sheila, DPWH, Director Ana May. Stay on, we still have 8 minutes, and we will read all the Facebook messages. Could we allow that? And we thank Red, you have something to say, but let me just read some Facebook messages. Oh, MMDA is logged in now. We give in to MMDA first before the Facebook messages. MMDA, don't tell me it's not your job, okay? MMDA, come in please.
Thank you po. Good morning po, Deputy Speaker.
Sino po sila?
Good morning po, Deputy Speaker, and to all who are on board.
Sige po, si Ana May po ang nakikita ko.
USEC San Juan po.
USEC San Juan. USEC San Juan.
Yes po. Good morning po ulit.
Good morning po. Ang nakikita ko po sa screen ko si Director
yes po.
Sige po. Ano po ang magagawa ng MMDA para po ma-implement lahat ng I can hear you, sir. I can hear you, sir.
It's nice that I got reconnected. Kanina po, intermittent and signal from here. So, I have some very good news.
Nawawala po kayo. Nawawala po kayo.
Number one po, I'd like to say, nagpapasalamat po ako sa ating Deputy Speaker for putting us on board again. And also Ambassador De Lang. We have made contact with the Office of the Good Ambassador, and we are exerting efforts to facilitate a meeting with Kevin as soon as possible. Number two, Secretary Tugade was earlier here in our office to discuss particularly the putting up of bike lanes in EDSA, specifically for EDSA po.
How exciting!
And, I'm glad to tell you that...
Sana pala tinawagan mo kami nung nandyan si Secretary Art. I will have him next time. I will call him. Let's see. I'll try to call him now. Sige. Very good. Continue.
So we are just finalizing the plans for EDSA. We are just finalizing the plans, not the details for EDSA, and we will coordinate DPWH as soon as the plans are more definite, yung mga details na lang po. And we hope that these details will be finalized by next week. But we are concentrating now for EDSA, no, in the meantime. Number 3,
clarify ko po. You're saying po,
studying the possibility.
Okay, continue.
Yung EDSA po will be affected by claim.
Okay, very good.
Hindi po papa. Okay?
Very good.
That's why we have to have good plans for that. Number 6, mabuhay lanes, no? Kasi these are very good potential bike lanes also dahil there are no high-speed vehicles traversing these roads. No? And mabuhay lanes are interconnected, no, sa mga cities. So that's another thing that we are looking into. Number 4, our ferry service. We are currently revising our protocols for the ferry service so that more bikes can be accommodated on our ferry boats. And the last, all these things that we are doing now, together, particularly with the help of your program, no, this will lead to a change of mindset, no? Because as of now, ang mindset po ng mga tao natin ay more cars, no, instead of more vehicles, no, more bikes, no. But you see, we are already the whole of government is pushing for bikes. Then even those who are using cars will have a change of mindset na hindi na yung sila ang bida, no, and yung mga bikes ang secondary, but mag-iiba na, no, because yun ang difficulty as of this moment now, no, parang may priorities na ang nasa minds ng mga tao. With change of mindset, we will be able to implement a good bike program for the cities in NCR. But let me also remind you, everyone, that all cars within NCR are from NCR. There's a great volume also coming from Region 4, even some from Region 5. So in the absence of long distance mass transport system, there is no choice for the people coming from these other areas to bring their car. In the future or in the middle term, long distance mass transport system is already, and that great number of cars coming from this. And that's our, perhaps we can put the legislation requiring to provide more bike parking for car slots. Yun lang po.
Thank you very much. Thank you very much, Undersecretary Frisco San Juan. Can you kindly email me all that? Kasi po yung signal po nyo hindi po maliwanag. Siguro po ay 2/3 lang ng sinabi nyo ang talagang narinig ko. Kaya maganda po, i-memo po nyo, kung maari po, email nyo sa akin para mabigay ko rin sa ibang agencies. At number 1, the way forward is, we will have part 3, we will have parang interagency meeting na. Pangalawa, I will draft congressional resolution so that the Zoom meeting I will have will be put on records of the House of Representatives. Thank you very much to all of you. Let me just read updated all these messages from Gemma Regina Corpus. Certainly bikes are the best way to go in Diliman. Okay, near UP where I studied. We're blessed that there are bike lanes in this area. Andre Untal, how we wish we could have bike lanes in the province of Antique. Yes. Bago lang akong congresswoman ninyo pero gagawin natin yan. I'm going to call D.E. Antonio and A.R.D. Fruto of the region. The lane shall be a perfect combination with a great panoramic view that Antique has. I agree with you. Duro, gid nga salamat. Rob C., DPWH has just created a technical working group on bike lane standards. Anna May, who is the head of this TWG, give it to us, share knowledge with this TWG so they can adopt the global best practices. So Benji and should share those his inputs with the head of the TWG. Mia Velda Breezy, for your kind info. Traffic education is a legally mandatory part of the curriculum in elementary schools in the NL. What is NL? Road safety. Is she from the Netherlands? Let me see. It says NL, Road Safety Organizations and Parents. Traffic education is basically meant for all road users in all traffic roles. It is therefore not only meant for children, but also for novice drivers, older drivers, and etc. Continuous traffic education is aimed. May I just know what is NL? Nakaano? I'm not sure.
Deputy Speaker, yes, that's the Netherlands.
That's the Netherlands, correct, yes. Correct. Because, okay, very good. Then we have Romel Coro. Just like the shelter agencies, I think there must be a group like transport mobility agencies. However, even if there is what you call shelter agencies, our housing backlog, why back tayo napunta sa housing, but we can do another episode on housing, remains at 5 million. Yes, I agree with you. And Jeng Arsenal, Meseda, Villanueva, the idea of changing real estate owners who build properties that encroach on space should have been built for sidewalks and mobility space. Hindi sa agaran sa kalye, tama po kayo. Charge rental fees for the development of sidewalks, bike lanes, the city departments who gave approval and permits to build should also be accountable. You are correct. Dapat tignan natin ano yung common area at ano dapat yung private. And it says from Jeng Villanueva, kudos to this group. Not only is a diverse panel, we want to have a real progressive conversation in 2020. We need a detailed plans backed by actual studies, results, and data is commended. Yes, thank you to the Institute for the Data and Climate Reality from Dan Diaz to get the DPWH to do bike lanes. Puro lang putol daw ng kahoy. Sila, mabilis pumutol ng kahoy para daw ma-expand ang road or to make new roads. Yun. Okay, I'm sorry I did not edit. I'm just reading it as it is. From Ms. Jean, transport planning requires holistic approach, hoping that the planning on bike lanes soon involves experts on transport and urban planning. May we have our expert from Seattle always with us and embedded with DPWH and DOTR and MMDA, Benji. From RC Dasal, thank you, Kong Lauren, for standing for the better normal living, says yes to safe bike lanes and sana magkaroon ng mga hindi maka-afford makabili ng bike. O sige. So isang bike muna, okay? Red, you take care of that kung sino yon. And we encourage those in their Facebook page, those who want to donate to those in need of bikes can go through the Climate Reality Philippines or the Institute of Climate and then to link you with the NGOs who are working with you. Okay, marami pa eh. Marco Gomez, I wish they could continue the original DOTR plan of EDSA rather than the current MMDA EDSA plan. As the MMDA said, Yusek San Juan said that Sec Tugade just talked about it today, and by next week they will have the plan. Hopefully the plan is not like the 2012 plan na 8 years ay puro plano. From Angel Gumban, Hardy, I really can't see the sense of what DOTR mentioned, that they are considering the safety of everyone. In fact, with lack of support and action, no protected bike lanes were set up. So if they care about the safety, then they should rethink what is the definition of safety for them. What part of protected bike lanes is difficult to understand if they do encounter the safety, okay? From Reyes Capistrano, says Laguna Lake is being used again as parking and vendors have occupied it. That's a project of DPWH. Please find out. I already read Bert Peters earlier. And yes, mahaba. Maybe we could answer the others on Facebook. We'd also like to thank our viewers from Quezon City, from Antique, from the Netherlands, from Austria. Let me see, the others are here. We're past 12, okay? We're past 12 and we have been here early before 10 o'clock. Red, you have anything to say? Maybe have, oops, my computer fell. Gutom na yung computer. Okay, Red, you take over. Yes.
Ma'am, okay, three very quick things, and one of them I'll be asking from Kevin. Yeah. So of the three things, the first one, there's a recommendation, and I think your office will be the strongest suited to really consider this, to create regional transportation authorities in all places with urban areas, and I think that will be established that the better normal coming out of this pandemic will be for the long run, for forever. So we'll certainly take that up with the Deputy Speaker Legarda, who I think is asking for all sorts of ideas, and that goes in that spirit, propositional. Second is that people were, I've had responses also, and they were saying, mainit pala ang talakayan, but only because, let me remind all viewers, this is how tulong-tulong really has to happen. So hindi po kami nag-aaway, and under the voice, the leadership, the steer of Congressman Legarda, ganito po ang usapan ng mga ganadong tumulong. Kaya gigil lahat kami, hindi po kami nag-aaway, lahat kami isang objective natin. No? So keep the ideas going, and I'm pretty sure that's what Congressman Legarda is going to ask all of you. Okay. The third, ma'am, before I give it to Kevin po, I flashed the screen the screen was on for a very quick time, and I think it's a good moment also to speak about something that's very dear to you also, ma'am. Tomorrow is June 12th, Independence Day, and so we're announcing now that we're going to launch on July 1 a Liberate the 88 campaign, which is the 88%. So on July 1, we will be issuing with a number of groups like Manila Moves, the 88 awards para meron tayong pinupuri dun sa mga mahusay na mga ahensya, opisina at mga negosyo. The businesses that are doing well, the LGUs like, you know, in Iloilo, in Baguio, and a lot of places. We will crowdsource and pedal source all the information. So we'll release the mechanics by next week, so that by the time the first awards for the 88 come in, those who prioritize the people without cars, the majority. And in that spirit, I think it's also great because it's about history. We're liberating people from immobility. It's a way to honor our ancestors. Tomorrow is June 12th. Independence from fossil fuels, but also independence from suffering. I think si Kevin po has something to say po na
okay, just a few minutes because it's 12:10 and I have another meeting as well. Kevin, just a few. Is Kevin with us now?
Yes, I am. I'm here.
Yes. Go ahead, please.
All right.
Thank you.
Thank you very much, Deputy Speaker and Red. I just wanted to say that I admire all the initiatives of the different participants in this webinar, because it's good to have all these diverse perspectives from different sectors of society. One thing that the embassy is now in the midst of planning is a series of these multi-sectoral consultations using the model of the Think Bike workshops that the Dutch Cycling Embassy put up. Now, these workshops have the purpose of bringing together all of these different stakeholders, just like all of you here, to help come up and agree on problems to solutions. So we want to engage at the national level, because we think that national level policymaking would be beneficial for this workshop. But we want to also propose multi-stakeholder engagements where we bring in civil society, we bring in the local governments, we bring in the national authorities, but we get everybody to discuss a common problem and to work on common solutions. This is what we did with Iloilo, where we brought together groups that weren't used to working with each other before and got them to work together on a common plan. And we're quite excited to offer this to all of you, and we hope that we can collaborate in setting an agenda for these workshops together with all of you. Thank you very much.
Very good. Kevin, because of what you said, and we are grateful to Ambassador Dalang and as well as yourself. You're the policy expert on this. So I will rely on you and on Benji, who is in Seattle, and Anime and the DOTR and the MMDA as well. Thank you. Well, tomorrow, as Red has said, it marks the 122nd anniversary of the Declaration of Philippine Independence from Spain. Unknown to many, the declaration was made with an interesting provision. As leaders declared the people free from Spanish colonialism, they also declared the new nation as a protectorate of the USA. There is so much talk about when it comes back to history, but how it has shaped our culture. But today, we want to make our mark as well. So what we are pushing for today, talked about a bit of history, that's tomorrow, but what we're talking about today is the here and now and the needs. And what we want now is nothing less, as Red has already mentioned, than the liberation of 88% of Metro Manila households. I didn't even realize that it was 88% who, because they do not have the fortune of owning cars, they remain imprisoned by the lack of inclusive, sustainable mobility options. And as long as we in government, I say we, because I'm not just blaming the agencies, that includes us, as we prioritize the mobility needs of the minority, which is only 12% of households that own cars, how can we call ourselves free? It is high time that we support build, build, build by ensuring it is also translated into build bicycle lanes and build sidewalks and build sustainable mobility in green and blue surroundings. Not literally, don't paint our walls blue and green or pink, please, but green it and plants that grow, not plants that die every year. So you have to replant and buy, please. This is how we can honor the efforts of our ancestors to free our people today from the oppression of immobility and rigid, outdated thinking. Let us use updated policies, not outdated thinking, we in government. So next week, on the Stories for a Better Normal, Pandemic and Climate Pathways, we will have part 2 of our urban and rural gardening and ecological solid waste management, but we will plan for a bigger, more, part 3 of our sustainable mobility episode. Wow, it's 2 hours and 15 minutes of interaction, and I hope this talk is not put to waste. I thank all of you, especially the Dutch Embassy, for your very active collaboration. Ambassador, thank you. Please do to Metro Manila what you helped Iloilo City with, and to Antique, thank you. To Akon Mang Kasimanwa, durugid nga salamat. Thank you to our partners, the Climate Change Commission, the Climate Reality Leaders Philippines, as well as the Institute of Climate and Sustainable Cities and Mother Earth and the Department of Agriculture, and the DNR is also our partner, and all of the cyclists and even non-expert cyclists like myself, dahil hulog ako ng hulog, matututo na ako magbisikleta ng matino. Tuturuan ako ni Red Constantino. So anyway, thank you very much. Good noon to all of you. Isang lungti ang Pilipinas, ating lahat. Happy Independence Day. Happy independence from fossil fuel. Happy independence from outdated thinking. Happy independence from rigid, outdated thinking, and liberating our commuters and our pedestrians and Metro Manilans as well. Thank you very much. Have a good day.